Hello, Block A. I am speaking to you from the future. Let's go. I shouldn't need to talk about anything on this first page because, of course, you have seen all four of those questions twice. They were on a quiz. They were on a test. So everybody should have gotten 4 out of 4 on the first page, and yet everybody didn't. D, B, C, D. Anybody wish to ask about any of them again? I am always willing to go over them. I am not trying to make you feel bad about yourselves. I'm just trying to make you aware of how important actually looking at your quizzes can be. That's why I don't count them for marks, so you can study from them. If you think I will do this again, that would be a mistake on your part. But if you think that the questions on the test will be similar to the questions on the quiz, that would be a good lesson to take from this. Anybody want to talk about any of those 4? Going once. Going twice. Yes. Yes, I can. The road overpass is 6 feet 6 inches, which means anything taller than that will not make it through, right? So, since our trucks are measured in meters, I have to convert this to meters. 6 feet 6 inches is 6.5 feet. I want meters over feet. 0.3048 over 1. 6.5 times 0.3048 is 1.98 meters. That's how tall the overpass is. That truck is taller than that. That truck is taller than that. That truck is taller than that. That truck is not taller than that. So if you are driving any truck but D, you're going to be stopping pretty damn fast when you get to that overpass. And you're going to go through the windshield or into the airbag because you may have forgotten your seatbelt. Okay, the Vancouver Island question. Still, I have some good answers here. I had 30 steps to walk, 466 kilometers. I had a 500, which wasn't bad. That means your steps are a kilometer long, so I would be home in Chilliwack in 30 steps. Yes, I know. I had some various other answers, but I did have a lot more answers that were right. And of course, again, 290 times 1.609 to get to kilometers. It's 466 point, I can't remember, but 466 is good enough. Great, 466.61. That's in km. Now you need meters, so you multiply by 1,000 to get 466,610 meters. Now, if your steps were a meter long, that means you need at least 466,000 steps. But your steps are not a meter long, they're only 0.54 of a meter. So I divide that by my 0.54 meter long steps to get 864 thousand. I don't care. If you have the 864, I think it's 249 or something. Great. 864,000 would be, got you full marks. Calculate the surface area and volume. This was not supposed to be there. I don't know where that came from. 2 and 3. So, surface area of a cone. I don't know the surface area of a cone, Mr. Myers. I don't remember the formula. But fortunately, I give you a data booklet and I put it on the test. Pi r squared plus pi r slant. I also gave you a diagram with an R and an S, which we'll circle in a minute. And I told you that the S was 10 and that the D was 12, so the R was 6. Pi r squared, pi r slant. Pi times 6 squared plus pi times 6 times 10 is 36 pi plus 60 pi, which is 96 pi, which is 301.6 centimeters squared. Then I asked you for the volume. The volume, I don't remember volume, Mr. Myers, but again, fortunately, I give you the data booklet. And the volume of a cone is area of the base times the what? Height. What letter is that? H. What letter is that? H. What letter is that? S. Is S the letter H? No. So is the height 10? No. And then, of course, you divide it by 3. How did you find the height? Pythagoras. 10 squared minus 6 squared and square root, which is, of course, 8. Some of you, a great many of you, did Pythagoras wrong and told me that this was like 11.5. Why is that wrong? Because it's longer than the slant. That is impossible. And when I ask you why you put 11.5 there, you will say, that's what my calculator showed me. Which is exactly what I was talking about yesterday. If you see a number on your calculator, you believe it. Even though it is physically impossible to be true. Stop doing that. Do math. So this was 8. So it was area of the base, pi r squared, 36 pi, times 8, divided by 3, which is, of course, 288 pi divided by 3, which is 96 pi. What? 301.6 centimeters cubed, because one's volume and one is surface area. I chose these measurements on purpose, because I knew you would get the same number. And some of you would be like, that's impossible, because you would forget that one is surface area and one is volume. I didn't fool anybody with that, though. I was a little bit sad about that.
It made me rethink. I looked at it like that.
Good. Radius of a sphere with that surface area. 452.389 equals 4 pi r squared, or 452.389 equals pi d squared. Both of which would have worked, except you got to remember, if you find the d, what do you got to do at the end? Divide by 2, because you didn't want d, you wanted r. Now again, algebra let a great many of you down here. So I'm very quickly going to prove that you know how to do algebra. If I gave you this question, 9 equals 20, equals 3x, what would you do? You would divide both sides by 3, and you would get x equals 3. Agreed? Excellent. Now, what if I told you that 9 equaled x squared? What would you do? You would square root. So, you're all aware that to solve these, you need to do some division and some square rooting. Bill for Myers. No. Okay. Amount of university education in this building. And nobody can figure out the timetable. All right. Where was I? Here. So, how will I get rid of this 4? I will divide both sides by 4, which will get me, whatever that is, equals pi r squared, yes? Then how will I get rid of that pi? I'll divide by pi, which will get me r squared. Then what do I do with that final answer? I square root it, which gets me 6 equals r. Come over here. What do I do to get rid of that pi? Divide by pi, which will get me something equals d squared. What do I do there? Square root. D equals 12, and then I divide by 2, 6. Yes?
I put like 6.5 in my thing.
Huh? Because 6.5 isn't the right answer. 6 is the right answer. So why wouldn't I mark it wrong when you wrote the wrong answer? Did you do work? Let me see it. I gave you 1.5 marks out of 2. I wrote X, and I gave you 1.5 marks out of 2. I gave you 75% on that question. I gave you a B. Yes, I know, because the answer is wrong. You did something wrong. I don't know where you went wrong, because you had everything written correctly, but you gave me the wrong answer, which is why you got 1.5 out of 2. Okay, perhaps it was. This question, what does that say? Volume. A great many of you did surface area. I don't know how to help you with that. That's reading. That's English. That's another classroom, not here. Next thing, there was this, which is LWH, because it's a rectangular prism, plus a pyramid, which is, as all pyramids, area of the base times what? Height divided by 3. What is that? Slant. Again, you need to find the height. How do you find the height? You make a right angle triangle with the height, the base, and the hypotenuse. This was 5. What's this? No. 3. It goes to the middle of that. So this is 4. So it is 7 times 6 plus 6 times 6 times 4 divided by 3, which was 300 millimeters squared. Oh, cubed. Sorry, yeah, because it's volume. Thank you. Turn the page over. Where is the letter Q? On the bottom left. Where is the letter P? At the top in the middle. Where is the letter R? Way over there. So where is angle QPR? QPR. It's that whole thing. So you need to define that theta, which is opposite over adjacent, shift tan of 10 over 6. And then you need to define that theta, which was adjacent over hypotenuse, which is shift cos 6 over 18. And you get 130. Which of the following is an angle of depression? Where do we start measuring all angles that would go up or down from? I am looking at you all in the eyes. There's a bird flying over your head. Where will my eyes go? Up. That bird poops and it lands on the floor. Where will my eyes go? Down. Where did they start? Flat. Do I want up or down for an angle of depression? Down. What angle lives between flat and down? C. Cat is on the ground. Well, to be fair, I couldn't see any of it. That's drawn on a completely blank screen. Well, those are stink lines, but that was the first attempt at a tail when it wasn't writing. Cat is on the ground. Cat has 4 legs. You're looking at it directly sideways.
But what if cat's legs are together?
It's not. The cat is standing perfectly like this, and you are exactly beside it. Therefore, its right legs are eclipsing its left legs. Fine.
There we go.
It's a street cat. It's got long claws. It has no owners.
But where are the claws?
Now, it is 50 meters away from the base of a pole. Pole. Where's the base? At the bottom. If it's 50 meters away from the base, there's 50. How tall is the pole? 20. What's the angle of elevation? Where's the only angle of elevation? From flat to where? Up. How do I find theta? Shift tan of 20 over 50, and it's 22. This question was on your test. Exactly the same, except it was 21, or no, it was 60 and 21. Now it's 7 and 74. Yes, it was a building. A great many of you chose sine or cos because apparently you like to measure height this way on the hypotenuse. I don't really know where in the world. I know that metric and imperial is a thing, but I don't really know anyone in the world that would measure the height of the tallest building in the world by throwing a rope off it to some guy 25 feet away and measuring the rope. Right? Height is measured vertically, up and down. There is only one line here that is up and down, that one. So that is what you needed. X. What did you have? You had a theta of 74. You had an adjacent of 7, and you needed an opposite of x. What uses O and A? Tan 74 equals O, x, over A, 7. Numbers on the bottom. 7 tan 74 equals, and that gets you something in the neighborhood of 24. No. That gets you 24. But that's because this 1.68 right here needs to be added. And I believe it came out to 26.09 or something. So it was 26.1, which is what almost everybody rounded it to, which is spectacular. If you did tan. If you didn't, I don't know. Right? Like, I'm asking for a height and you're measuring a hypotenuse. I don't know. Amy and Byron, or Ann and Byron, they want to measure the height of that cliff. So, that cliff would be this triangle, yes? To measure that height, they would need two pieces of information. Do they have it? No, they only have an angle. But they are able to say to each other, "Hey, Byron." "Yeah, Ann." "Measure how far it is between you and me." "Okay." "It's 35. "Awesome, thanks, Byron." Now then Ann looks over here and uses one of those survey-y things that we talked about in class to get that angle. So Ann has a theta of 36 and adjacent of 35. Now, which is the side that will help her with the red triangle? Eric? Well done. And for bonus Jeopardy, what is the equation she would use? Cos of what? 36 equals what? 35 over h. Number on the top, so it is division. 35 divided by cos 36 gets you 42. Something. Some of you told me this red line was shorter than 35. I'm confused again because the very first thing I asked any of you at the very beginning of trig, the very first question was, what is the hypotenuse? And every single one of you said it's the longest side. And yet, you're willing to do a half page of work and tell me that it is not the longest side. More than once in some of occasions. So once you know that to be, I think it's 42.35 or something. Great, it doesn't matter because I don't even do that. I only go to my calculator once. So now you had a theta of 68 and adjacent of 42.26 according to Seamus. And what? For whatever. And an opposite of, I don't know, O and A is tan 68 equals O over whatever. Whatever is the one we know, so it is tan 68 times whatever to equal y, and it is 106.9, I believe. It happens. I know. It's frustrating. It's frustrating for all of us. All right. We are done. You keep those. They are yours till... Sorry. Sorry I don't take care of everything for you, Ash. Alright. When you are done hole punching, please open your books to the 2 questions I asked you to do for homework.
Didn't go very well, but I tried.
Nice job, Ayla. First try. No flip-flops today? Yesterday, pouring rain, flip-flops. Today, shoes.
Slides, not flip-flops.
They are flip-flops. They are flip-flops.
Yes, it's because yesterday I was wearing a slide to club it.
You're wearing the exact same outfit you were wearing yesterday. Shorts and a hoodie.
Oh yeah, shoes, because I had gym and I shopped in my
Okay. If I'm not mistaken, I believe the page that I left you on was page 92. And I asked you to do 2 questiones. Nice. That's okay. It's not elementary school. I will not hand your work back to you if it is done in red pen and make you do it again. I would never do that. As a matter of fact, that really bothers me. No, it really bothers me that in elementary school, I had much of my work sent back to me because I had done it in a color that the teacher was not happy with. Work is still done. Now, their argument was, yes, but I told you to do this, and how will you ever learn if you can't follow simple instructions? To which I really, to this day, I kind of agree with, because I give simple instructions to my own children, and they do not follow them.
Are you talking like your own children?
No, on my own children. I give you people simple instructions as well. Thank you, Justin Landsberger. I will try to mark that this class and get it back to you. But if I don't, you can pick it up tomorrow.
Okay.
There is a video of the whole thing, so you can check it against it. Miss Kumar.
Did you get the thingy for the French thing?
The thingy for the French
You
thing.
would have to go and pick up the box.
Oh, the French movie.
Yeah, can I come to
You can
class?
go. I don't.
No, I don't want to come go. Okay, come to class.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. You don't want to go see a movie.
Are you watching grade 9?
What movie is it?
Petit Nicolas.
Oh yeah.
And I'd rather go to cinema.
I understand. I hear what you're saying. Yeah. The French make some wicked movies, though. You'd think they would show one of the wickeder ones. Yes, indeed, Louis. That would be a good first step. Well done. And look, all still there, right within reach of me, and yet
Wait, are you sure you didn't grab one, Mr. Meyer?
I did not, but I bet I got video.
And that, Mr. Myers, apparently, Gordy, you're talking about French making wicked movies?
Yes.
Apparently, Hollywood's actually remaking some French movies.
Hollywood remakes all kinds of movies from anywhere else in the world, because if a movie makes any money anywhere else in the world, Hollywood will steal it, because that's what Hollywood does. But what Hollywood doesn't do is steal it and keep it as good. For example, a movie might be awesome in England, and the only thing that happens in it is a bunch of people walk into the room, look awkward because people in the room are doing not what they thought they should be doing. They walk in and then they leave. That happens in English, British movies all the time. British TV shows. You watch Downton Abbey, it's all about people walking in and leaving. I don't know why everybody's so obsessed with it, but everyone is. Huh? Nothing happens in British movies. It's very, I'll be sitting here playing cards and someone will walk in and say, Sebastian! Oh my. And leave. And then Sebastian will look like this. Huh? Oh my. And go back to his cards. And it wins Oscars! Millions of people watch and pay money to see this, but then Hollywood gets a hold of it. Sebastian, what the? Then he reaches into his pocket, pulls out a knife from his boot, throws it. Die, blood. And all you suckers, this is awesome. I hope they make a sequel.
Everything is a sequel these days, so it's probably your team. We should make that a thing.
I do not understand it.
Do we have a movie class?
All right.
Is this math class or rugby practice? I can't tell.
No, it's theater class.
It doesn't matter.
We're learning about Hollywood.
Yeah. Oh, too much fun.
Indeed it is, Ms. Jansen. Indeed it is. All right. Who attempted the 2 homework questions? I know. What? She should have come in. Oh my. What are you doing, Mr. Myers? Counting matches. All right. Did anybody try it? Well done. What did you come up with?
For E, 7.75.
Okay. Let's see if he is correct. Is 405 on our list? No, but our list goes from 0 to 1,000, so we can work it out, yes?
Yeah.
It is between what and what? It is between 7, which is 343, and 8, which is 512, yes? So that, you actually worked it out as 172 steps?
No, you said 512. You said no 572.
No, it's 512. There's no cross there. It's 512.
That's, I copied that 572.
It's 512. Anyway, regardless, you'll still get the right answer, or because we're only estimating, right? Now, this is pretty close to 250, yes? And this is pretty close to 60, yes? So it's 7 and 60 out of 250. Cancel the zeros. 6 out of 25 is pretty close to 7 and 5 out of 25, right? Which is pretty close to 7 and 1/5, which is pretty close to 7.2.
That's Friday. That's Friday.
Right?
I got 7.25.
That's okay. You could also have said 6 and 25 is pretty close to a quarter, because 6 to 24 is a quarter, which would be 7.25. Exactly. Because it's an estimate. Everybody Gouda? And what's this one? 125 is 5. 216 is 6. This is 40. That is not 40, idiot. This is 90. This is 50. 5 out of 9, which is pretty close to half. So 5.5. Yeah? Yeah. Now, what if you said, oh, Mr. Myers, it's a little less than half, so I'm going to do 5.4. Is that okay? Oh, my. It is. All right? What are you doing? Maths. Because we're in Britain. That's what they say in Britain. You're in maths class. They pluralize it. Yes, Dana? Yes. Oh, my. All right. Is everybody good? Yeah. Okay. Here's what I would like for you to do. On this page, which is page 93, all you need to do is tell me either what the square root is or if it is irrational. I'm going to do the first three. I'm going to give you guys a couple minutes to do the rest of this page. Everybody cool? All right, let's do the first one. Now, there's a negative sign there. Is it possible to have a square root of a negative number? It's yes or no. Take a guess. So I'm asking you if this is possible. No, why not? I did tell you the other day. Who remembers? Why not?
I don't remember why not.
Okay. Carl, why not? Raul, why not? A negative times a negative will always be positive, won't it? So you can't get two of the same fraction, or two of the same factors there, can you? But, what's that? What's the square root of 4? 2 with a negative out in front of it, so it's negative 2. So what is this? What's the square root of 196? 14. And there's a negative out in front, so it's negative 14. Yeah? Hello. Turdiddlyific.
I love that word.
1 second. Take that for Peyton and that for Evan, please.
Okay.
Oh my. All right. Is 27 on our list? It's not a perfect square. So what do? Follow the instructions. It's irrational. That's it. Everybody cool? For this page, that's all you have to do. I don't want you to use your calculator. That's the point. Okay? This one, I talked about this yesterday. The square root sign applies to everything under its roof. So this is the square root of 9 over the square root of 100. What is the square root of 9? 3. What is the square root of 100? 10. So the answer is 3 over 10 or 0.3, 3/10, right? Everybody cool? This page, this is all you do. You can work with your neighbor. You can talk amongst yourselves. I don't care. But do these 9, 8, 6, 9 right now, please. If it is not a perfect square, all you got to do is write irrational. Go. Try to do it without your calculators. Because you have a list of every perfect square needed to do this. Okay, this one is really what? D is really what? It is really the square root of 225 over the square root of 48. Top one works, that's 15. Bottom one is irrational. So that makes the whole thing irrational. 0.25. What? That, you can do it in one of two ways. You could say to yourself, self, that's pretty close. It's very similar to the square root of 25, which is 5. But 5 times 5 is 25, but 0.5 times 0.5 is 0.25. So that would work. 1 second. I just want to wait till everybody finishes their conversations. Because, of course, this is talk about what I want to talk about 10, not math 10. I know math class is enjoyable, but math class is enjoyable because once in a while we do math. The school provides you with 5 minutes between classes thrice a day, and it provides you with a 40-minute lunch period to have conversations that have nothing to do with the class in which you find yourself. Yes, 55 minutes of talk time to your friends. What bothers us teachers is that when we try to do the business at hand and you don't pay attention to it, then when it comes test, quiz, essay time, you come to us and say, oh, I'm not getting a bad grade. And we say, well, because you don't do anything but talk in my class. And then you say, that's not true. And then I say, oh, really? Let's put a stopwatch on how often I sit here waiting for you people to shut up so we can get back to math. And let's see how much time we waste. So, the other way to think about this is that's 25 over 100. Yes, because it's 25 100ths. So the square root of that would be the square root of 25 over the square root of 100, which is 5 over 10, which is half, 0.5. This is the square root of 1 over the square root of 25. Square root of 1 is 1, square root of 25 is 5, 1/5, or 0.2. Square root of 0, real simple, 0. Square root of 45, is it on our list? Nope, so it's irrational. Square root of negative 45, guess what? Still irrational. Square root of 121, 11. 5 over 20. A bunch of you wrote irrational there, I am betting. Because you said square root of 5 over square root of 20. That's irrational, that's irrational. Screw you, Myers, that's irrational. Except you would never, ever, 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 ever leave that fraction like that, would you? Because that's really the square root of 1/4. Which is the square root of 1 over the square root of 4, which is 1 over 2. Right?
But for some reason, if I put it in here, it says 0.5.
Yes, because your calculator doesn't do fractions. 1 over 2 is 0.5. Half. And this, of course, is irrational. Yeah?
No, it's 2 because it's cube root 2.
Does yours have a little 3? I thought it might have been a typo. No. If there was a little 3 there, what would this be? 2. Flip on to 94, please. Now, why is 94 more difficult than what we did in our notes? Because the numbers are getting gigantic, yes? And some of them are cubed. So let's have a look at this one. Is 576 on our list of cubes? No. It's between 512, which is 8, not 572, and 9, which is 729, yes? Oops, I shouldn't have written it that way, idiot. 729. 9. 9! Right? Everybody cool? All right, now, how far is that? Approximately 60, sure. So it's 8, Wingardium Leviosa, and 60. And how far is that? Approximately 200, which is pretty close to 8 and 6 over 20, yes? Which is pretty close to 8 and 3 over 10, yes? Which is pretty close to 8.3. Does everybody understand?
Yeah.
Now, let's check. Let's check. Let us check. Cube root of 576. Oh my good gravy. Everybody with me? That's what I want you to do on this page. Now, 1728 is a giant number, yes? And I only want the square root, yeah? So let's stop and think about this for a minute. 1728 is close to 1,700, yeah? 1,700 is pretty close to 1,600, yeah? What's the square root of 16? What's the square root of 100? 10, right? So isn't 1,600 16 times 100? So what's the square root of 16? 4. What's the square root of 10? What's the square root of 100? 10. So what's 4 times 10? 40. So let's stop and think about this for a minute. 1,600 is 40, yes? Right? What's 50? What would be up here? What's 5 squared? So this must be 2,500, correct? Is everybody with me? Okay. So I got 10 steps here, yes? And I have basically 1,000 steps there, yes? Right? Well, I have gone almost 200 past here, yes? So that's almost 200 out of what? Out of 1,000, yes? So is it a fair guess to say 40 and 200 out of 1,000? 40 and 2/10, 40.2. Would that be a good guess?
Yeah.
The actual answer, if you punch in your calculator, is 41 point something.
41.5.
Is it a good enough guess? If we were doing this math, could you, in your estimate, say that that is approximately 40? And you'd be fine, wouldn't you? Everybody cool? All right, let's look at the next one. C, 27,000, but it's a cube root. 27,000 isn't on the list, but what is? 27 and 1,000. So if this is 27 times 1,000, then the square root must be the square root of 20, or the cube root of 27, which is what? 3 times the cube root of 10. 1,000, which is what? 10. 3 times 10 is what? 30. Everybody picking up what I'm putting down? Read my mail, mow my lawn. Now, sometimes this gets a little weird. Like this one, you're going to look at that and probably think that it isn't a perfect cube. But it is, because every one of you is trying these with your calculator first. This is 15. Right? What's different about E? I don't have a 3 there, so it's just a square root, right? So let's have a look at this. Isn't that 729 times 100? That's got a square root, doesn't it? What is it? 10. So then it must be the square root of 729 times 10. That doesn't have a square root, though, does it? Look on your list. Does 729 have a square root? Huh? I know it's not on the list, so what must we do? What would have a square root around 729? 900, because 3, 30, right? So it's not 900, it's got to be less than that.
800.
800 doesn't have a square root. 8 doesn't have a square root. 600? 600 has a square root. 6 has a square root. What else has a square root? Okay, so 400, right? So we do that plan. 400 is 20, and 900 is 30, yes? Is that about halfway between? Not quite. It's more like 2/3, right? So 2/3 of the way here would be 26, wouldn't it? So this square root is about 26 times 10. What's that? Oh, it's exactly 27. Did you try it with your calculator? Oh, crap. Then it does work, doesn't it? It's 270. You can. What about this guy? 100,000. Square root. Well, you know that's 100 times 1,000, right? Does that have a square root? 10. Does that? No, that's got a cube root, but not a square root, right? So break this guy down. What's he? He's 100 times 10, yes? What's the square root of 100? 10. So I got 10 times 10 times the square root of 10. Square root of 10 is about 3, isn't it? Because it's almost 9, correct? 10 times 10 is 100. 100 times about 3 means this is approximately 300. Is everybody with me? Try the last 3. That's your homework. Oh, I lie. Try the rest of 94.
Oh, I already finished. I already finished it.
And then tomorrow's lesson takes us to a break in the unit. If you look close, you would see the next thing we were doing was a quiz. So it's perfect. I will see you tomorrow. Have good days. Little bit of work for tonight, not much.
So the quiz is happening tomorrow?
No, there will be no quiz. The quiz will be later.